What's up, Steelers Nation? It's time to talk about the future of the quarterback position in Pittsburgh. With both Russell Wilson and Justin Fields set to hit free agency next year, the big question on everyone's mind is, what's next? Could the Steelers be eyeing a young, dynamic prospect in the NFL draft to build around for the long term? We'll break down ESPN draft expert Matt Miller's intriguing prediction for the Steelers, discuss what this could mean for the team's plans, and dive into some fresh controversy surrounding Minkah Fitzpatrick. But before we get started, smash that like button and subscribe for the latest Steelers updates. Let's dive in. The Pittsburgh Steelers are navigating a pivotal moment for their franchise. With Russell Wilson and Justin Fields leading the charge this season, the team has had the luxury of two starting-caliber quarterbacks. However, both players are set to become free agents in the offseason, leaving the Steelers at a crossroads. The question isn't just about talent, it's about long-term vision. Wilson, though experienced, isn't getting any younger, and while Fields has shown flashes of brilliance, there are questions about his consistency and fit within Pittsburgh's system. According to ESPN's Matt Miller, the Steelers may be looking to the NFL draft for answers. Miller's latest projection has Pittsburgh selecting Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe with the 28th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. Miller makes a compelling case for Milroe, pointing to his unique skill set as a blend of Wilson's arm strength and pocket awareness with Fields' athleticism as a runner. Here's what Miller had to say. Milroe just needs to improve his touch as a passer, but scouts I've talked to have said he has the most upside of any draft-eligible quarterback in the class. He's raw but incredibly talented, with 15 passing touchdowns and 17 rushing scores this season. If the Steelers re-sign Wilson, Milroe could sit, learn, and develop further. Milroe, coming out of a powerhouse program like Alabama, also brings a winning pedigree. For the Steelers, that matters. This franchise has always valued players who understand the pressure and expectations of competing at the highest level. If the Steelers do draft Milroe, it wouldn't be their first attempt at grooming a young quarterback under an established veteran. After Ben Roethlisberger's retirement, Pittsburgh used a first-round pick on Kenny Pickett, only to later bring in Wilson for his experience. When Pickett bristled at the idea of being a backup, the team moved him to Philadelphia and acquired Fields. The Milroe-Wilson dynamic could mirror what the Steelers originally envisioned for Pickett and Wilson, a chance for a young quarterback to develop without the immediate pressure of starting. This approach would allow Pittsburgh to address its quarterback position for the future while keeping its playoff aspirations intact in the present. Of course, the idea of drafting another quarterback raises some questions. The Steelers are competitive now, and many fans might argue that the team should focus on bolstering other areas, such as the offensive line, wide receiver depth, or even the defensive secondary. However, the Steelers' front office has always been forward-thinking. In a league where the quarterback position is paramount, securing a long-term solution under center might outweigh other needs. Shifting gears, let's talk about Minkah Fitzpatrick. The Steelers' star safety has had an eventful season, and not always for the right reasons. Following the team's hard-fought Week 11 win against the Baltimore Ravens, Fitzpatrick was fined $11,255 for a late-hit penalty during the game. The play in question occurred after Ravens tight end Isaiah likely fumbled the ball. Fitzpatrick collided with offensive lineman Patrick McCrary, who had jumped on the loose ball after the whistle was blown. Both players were flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct, but only Fitzpatrick received a fine. This isn't the first time Fitzpatrick has been at the center of controversy this season. In Week 4 against the Indianapolis Colts, he was flagged for unnecessary roughness in a questionable call that the league later admitted was incorrect. While no fine was issued that time, the penalty significantly impacted the game, which the Colts won 27-24. Despite the scrutiny, Fitzpatrick remains a cornerstone of Pittsburgh's defense. Through 11 games, he's racked up 61 total tackles and a forced fumble, continuing to play at a high level. However, some fans and analysts have noted a relative lack of splash plays compared to previous seasons. The fine and penalties only add to the frustration for Fitzpatrick, who has been a leader both on and off the field. As the Steelers look to rebound from their loss to Cleveland, Fitzpatrick's presence will be crucial for the team's defensive success. With the playoff race intensifying, the Steelers can't afford to dwell on past controversies or uncertainties about the future. Up next is a critical matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals, a team always ready to spoil Pittsburgh's plans. For the quarterback situation, the offseason will be a defining period. Whether the Steelers stick with Wilson, give Fields another chance, or take the plunge on drafting Milroe, one thing is clear: Pittsburgh's commitment to success and adaptability will guide their decision-making. The Steelers' 24-19 loss to the Cleveland Browns ended their impressive 5-game win streak and brought up an all-too-familiar narrative: inconsistency. During the streak, Pittsburgh seemed like a rejuvenated team. Russell Wilson brought a spark to the offense, and his presence elevated those around him. Yet, Thursday night showed us the cracks in the foundation. This wasn't a loss to a powerhouse. It was to a Browns team with only 2 wins entering the game. For much of the night, the Steelers seemed unprepared, overly reliant on their elite defense, and unable to dominate an inferior opponent. As Ross Tucker pointed out on the Dan Patrick Show, this loss didn't just happen in isolation. It's part of a larger pattern that's defined the Steelers for years. I think this is who they are, which is why I have a really tough time picturing them winning 3 playoff games to get to the Super Bowl. This team's ability to win one-score games is uncanny. The problem is you get to the playoffs. You're going to be going up against Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes. Russell Wilson is not at that level. Steelers fans, that stings. But Tucker raises a valid point. Wilson, while a massive improvement in leadership and poise, isn't in the same tier as the NFL's elite quarterbacks. And in today's NFL, teams with middling offenses and stellar defenses rarely go far. Yes, the Steelers' defense is among the best in the league. They've carried this team to numerous one-score victories, but the offense still struggles to keep up. Wilson has had moments of brilliance, like his late-game heroics against the Washington Commanders, but those flashes aren't enough for long-term success. If the Steelers want to contend with teams like the Chiefs, Bills, or even the Ravens in the playoffs, the offense can't rely on the defense to win games. Both sides of the ball need to dominate consistently. Do I think the Steelers can win one playoff game? Yeah, they can win one. Do I think they're going to win 3 games like that in a row? Absolutely not. That would really surprise me because they don't blow anybody out. It's all one-score games, and they have the lesser quarterback in 3 straight one-score games if they can even make it a one-score game late. The Steelers are on track for yet another winning season under Mike Tomlin, maintaining his streak of never finishing below .500. But let's face it, regular season success isn't the goal. Playoff wins, and ultimately a Super Bowl, are what matter. Since losing Super Bowl 45, the Steelers have only 3 playoff wins, and those came under circumstances that don't exactly scream dominance. 2 victories were against teams starting backup quarterbacks. One was against Alex Smith, a solid but not elite QB. For a franchise with 6 Lombardi trophies, that kind of playoff performance is hard to accept. Losses like the one to the Browns highlight a recurring problem. Struggling to secure a high playoff seed forces Pittsburgh into tough matchups against elite teams in the postseason. Time and again, this results in an early exit, leaving fans frustrated and wondering if this is as good as it gets. The Steelers have shown they can hang with tough teams. They've beaten the Chargers and Ravens this season, both impressive victories. But can they do it consistently when it matters most? As much as it pains us to admit, Ross Tucker's harsh evaluation feels accurate. Until the Steelers can prove otherwise, they're not AFC contenders. They're a good team that wins close games but doesn't have the firepower to dominate or go on a deep playoff run. This team's formula, relying heavily on defense and scraping by with just enough offense, might secure a playoff spot, but it's not built to win a championship. With the playoff race heating up, the Steelers have no time to dwell on the Browns' loss. They need to regroup and refocus for their upcoming games, starting with a crucial matchup against the Bengals. For Wilson and the offense, the challenge is clear: find consistency and take some pressure off the defense. That means not just managing games but taking control of them. For the defense, it's about maintaining their elite performance while staying disciplined and avoiding costly penalties or breakdowns late in games. The Steelers are at a pivotal point, balancing immediate playoff hopes with long-term planning. Whether it's the quarterback situation or maintaining a strong defense, every decision counts. Now, it's time to hear from you. Do you think Jalen Milroe is the right fit for the Steelers? Or should the team focus on re-signing Wilson or Fields? What areas of the team do you think need the most attention in the draft? How do you feel about the Minkah Fitzpatrick find and his season so far? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for sticking with us through this deep dive into the future of the Steelers. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your fellow Steelers fans. Steelers Nation, this is our journey together. Let's keep the faith and see where it takes us. Here we go.